So it's going to be an evening of these slightly unusual Dharma talks I've been doing. I think this is only about the second time I've shown this one. So you have to let me know what you think. It's always interesting. I went to Australia and then made these 10 talks on my own. And then I thought I'll come to Malaysia and I'll show them and then I'll run away. I'll go to China and then just in case everybody complains, that's not a Dharma talk. So it's largely, I've got a great fear of the Dharma becoming very dry and boring and not meaning anything for people anymore. So I really decided to make them very humanistic, very much on people's needs, and make it interesting as well. Making it very colourful, vibrant.
You're fully prepared, but
I'm never prepared. That's the beauty. Yeah. I'm a control freak. That's the problem.
micromanage.
I'm micromanaging, yeah. You never can. I was saying that, like those monks who just got killed in Thailand, right?
Yeah.
So it could happen to me tomorrow, you never know. They're saying, where are you going to be in the future? I said, I'm planning to be here and there, but you never know.
Yeah.
MH17, like the aeroplane, you might get.
That was very tragic.
Yeah. Just never know.
So, very good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Buddhist Maha Vihara's Friday Dhammadana series. And we have with us Bhante Rakkhita, Samanera, who's been here for the past 2-3 weeks, helping us conduct Dhamma sharings on Fridays and Sundays. So today is my first day here, Bhante. Sorry I missed your last two. I was away. But all the same, I think those who attended Bhante's 2 talks earlier would have appreciated a different style of presentation as opposed to conventional academic kind of presentations. Okay, so, and I look forward to seeing this today as well. So without much ado, I'd like to just quickly read Bhante's profile for those of you who are unfamiliar with Bhante. Bhante Rakkhita Samanera was originally from the UK and has been practicing Vipassana meditation for over 30 years and was ordained in the Thai Vipassana tradition under Venerable Ajahn Tong. He has trained under several respected Theravada teachers, including Sayadaw U Pandita, Ajahn Brahm, Venerable Sujiva, and Bhante Punnaji, and has visited over 150 temples across 9 countries. Now, since 2013, Bhante has been actively engaged in meditation teachings, compassionate community work, and value education in the Philippines, supporting underprivileged communities through mindfulness, education, and charitable services. Known for his warm, relaxed, and joyful teaching style with gentle humor, Bhante guides tranquility and insight meditation sessions emphasizing mindfulness, loving kindness, wisdom, and practical application of the Dhamma in daily life. So without much ado, I'd now like to invite Bhante Rakkhita to start this evening's Dhamma sharing entitled Castles Made of Sand. Bhante?
Thank you very much for that very generous introduction. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Okay, so let's go right in without the 5 precepts. Yeah. Okay, so hello everyone. Thank you very much for coming. For those of you who haven't met me before, my name is Bhante Rakkhita Samanera. Although I've been a Buddhist monk for many years, my life before ordination was anything but normal and conventional. I worked in many different fields, as an artist, as a designer, decorator, musician, therapist, and in all sorts of practical jobs as well. Looking back now, those experiences made some very different from monastic life. Yeah, they've given me a wealth of stories, observations, and about the way we human beings live, strive, succeed, fail, and search for meaning. One of the things I've discovered is that the Buddhist teachings are not limited to monasteries or meditation cushions. They are found just as readily in workplaces, kitchens, airports, gardens, construction sites, conversations, and even in the occasional disaster that later became a very good story. Tonight's talk is about work, not simply employment or careers. It is about effort, and it's about purpose. It's about what gives our actions meaning. We will explore why two people can perform exactly the same task, yet one experiences as drudgery and boredom, another one experiences it as deeply fulfilling and meaningful. Along the way, the stories, humour, a few unusual adventures from my own life, and some practical reflections you may wish to try in your daily life. We shall look at creativity, burnout, motivation, identity, and the subtle difference between being busy and being truly purposeful. Most importantly, we shall ask a question that changes throughout our lives. What does meaningful work look like for me now? Because from the Buddhist perspective, the most important work is not merely what our hands are doing, is what our minds are becoming while we're doing it. Every task, however ordinary, is shaping habits, shaping intentions, character, and ultimately the direction of our lives. So now I invite you not simply to listen to a talk about work, but to reflect on your own lives, your own efforts, and perhaps discover that the deepest work any of us will ever do is the quiet work of cultivating wisdom, compassion, and a peaceful heart. Talk 14. Castles made of sand. About hard work, purposeful action and effort, innovation, finding higher purpose. Let me tell you a story about a time I worked. And it all worked out great. It was in London, in a hotel called the Strand Palace Hotel, not far from Buckingham Palace. It was my first ever abstract painting commission. Normally, people judge you as an artist if the form you paint looks like the form in reality. A painting of a table looks like a table. This time, the CEO asked me to paint abstract. He walked me to a newly refurbished restaurant. All the walls were white, with soft lighting. He showed me a large empty wall and said, "There, do what you like with it. Abstract. You have 30 minutes after lunch." I brought dust sheets, rollers, then small pots of paint. I rolled on a large, flat, blue-green area. It dried quickly. Then I popped open a small tin of goldish yellow paint, drew my arm back and threw it in a long splat across the wall. It was so satisfying. All the staff watched from behind me. They applauded. I was paid very well. The CEO loved it and asked for many, many more paintings like it. Now, that was a good day. I remember my dad saying about work, as he was cutting a piece of wood, "Let the saw do the work." Sounds profound, doesn't it? A reflective question for you. When have you done something simple that felt deeply meaningful? I also worked closely with therapists, using music and movement, with brain-damaged children who had almost no hearing. So in a way, it was a near-death experience. That's a joke, by the way. Boo. You're supposed to go boo if it's a bad joke. So when you reflect about work and your life purpose, it really helps if we find something deeper in it. True purpose isn't found in the size of the task, but the intention behind it, whether mundane or very creative. I mean, huge tasks. I did this Egyptian dome. It was 350 square meters and 100 columns in the 9 floors below it. Sometimes we overdo it. We all work hard. I met a workaholic German in India recently, busy gardening on holiday. I asked if their doctor had suggested they go to India to relax, to make them feel at home. I said, I was also a workaholic. I went up inside the huge golden meditation sphere they have, the Matra Mandir, every day at 4:30 p.m. to meditate. But really what I did, I went around vacuuming the carpet, asking everyone to lift up their legs and really irritating everybody. Excuse me, lift up your legs. Excuse me, can you stop doing that, please? We all work hard, maybe too hard. Once a day, a little tactic for you, an effort check. Once a day, ask, where is my energy going? Just notice, no judgment. Are you doing too little work? Are you doing too much work? Ask and reflect. What does meaningful work look for me like right now? It might be something different. Inner work, outer work, energy work, psychic work, higher work, subtle energy work, even things like body work or massage and healing. Now ponder, what would change if you focused more on the why of your actions? Some humour from my new journal, The Breather's Digest. I'm going to ring out. Some work jokes. Some jobs we may have had. I lost my job as a psychic. I did not see that coming. After that, I considered inspecting mirrors. It's a job I could really see myself doing. Boo! Because I didn't like my job as a waiter, but at least I was putting food on the table. There's other jobs. The pollen count, that's a difficult job. It's a lot of little pieces. My auntie, it's difficult to say what she does. She sells seashells on the seashore. The firefighters wanted more money, and a pole was taken, so they all fell through a hole in the floor. There was no pole. I sometimes would think of my granddad would think of what I do as a living. He had a kebab shop and he was buried with all his equipment. He's probably turning in his grave. Now, a true account. During my interim years, the 23 years when I wasn't a monk, I was once asked to refinish an ambassador's walnut solid wooden floor. Using a floor polisher all day made my fingers go completely numb. They go white. So I taped the handle, permanently squeezed to the on position. You know, like they're like brake handles on a bicycle. Turning it on and off at the wall socket. You held it like a lawnmower, and the circular base went spinning round. Overnight, the floor polisher was left plugged in, with the go handle taped to stay on the whole time. Half asleep in the morning, I went down, getting everything ready, and I turned on the electric plug socket. Click, the whole thing started up, except the base stayed still. And the rest of it, now, the stalk and the handle span round, like a mad helicopter, narrowly missing all the items on the ambassador's shelves and the glass windows. I turned it off, luckily. I got it back under control and nothing was damaged. Hard work is patience and like queuing. What does meaningful look like for you right now in your life? For me, writing talks. Have you ever worked hard on something only to realize you weren't even sure why you're doing it? Hard work. It sounds like aardvark. They're amazing creatures, the aardvarks. Weird spelling. It's Dutch from Holland. A-A-R-D-V-A-R-K. Aardvark. You know why it's called aardvark, don't you? Well, when there was the great flood coming and there was a queue for the ark, all of the animals were told by Noah that they would go in alphabetical order. So the sneaky ant-eating, long-snouted creature and his family, they pushed in the front and they say, "We're first, it's aardvark, double A." And the zebras were very fed up. Hard work, not aardvark, without reflection leads to burnout. Purposeful effort leads to growth. The difference is awareness. I noticed that when you're really sure what you're doing is what you should be doing with your life, your lifetime, time vanishes. Yet, tasks done simply for money or for others' expectations, time drags forever. Not all effort is skillful. Working as a trusted home help for someone called Lady Jane in a place called Royston in England, I was asked to do all sorts of odd jobs around the very large house and big garden. One day, I was in the ground floor laundry, and out of the corner of my eye, a black flappy object fluttered and jumped in one of the laundry baskets. I thought, with curiosity and compassion. Is it a bird caught in the basket? I leaned over so I could find the poor frightened little bird. It must be caught down in all the laundry. Just then, a whole cluster of used towels and underwear fell from the bus above me, landed on my head. Unknown to me, there was a laundry chute from the 4th floor. Hadn't been a bird at all, just been some black underwear flying out and landing in the basket from the laundry chute. Have you seen how questions like this change throughout your life? The meaning of work shifts through your life. What does meaningful work look like for me right now? Small tactics work. Try to reduce by 10%. Soften effort slightly. Relax your jaw and your shoulders and your breathe. Do the same task, just with less strain. Finding your higher purpose. Have you seen how questions like this change throughout your life? Ask yourself, what does meaningful work look like for me now, after you've been thinking about that? It changes. Afterwards, ask, what might purposeful pauses during effort look like in my life? Over-identifying with your work creates fragility. And who are you if your role disappears? How did the doctor cure the invisible man? He took him to the ICU. The psychiatrist's secretary walked into his study and said, "There's a gentleman in the waiting room to see you. Claims he's invisible." "Tell him I can't see him," said the psychiatrist. Yesterday, I drank a bottle of invisible ink. I was in the clinic all night, waiting to be seen. And I've spent my whole life searching for an invisible dolphin, but now I don't see the porpoise. Porpoise is another word for a dolphin, by the way. Sounds like purpose. You know that a tree needs firm roots for stability, yet must bend wildly to survive storms. That's why Malaysians are good Buddhists. You know why? Plenty of rubber trees. The defective rotoscope. Back to India. This is Auroville, by the way. A defective rotoscope. I was at the Spiritual Community Centre in India when in the centre there's this huge golden dome, 150 foot tall. In the top of it, of the huge inner sanctum, which has no windows, it's all white, 10-sided kind of marble room. In the top, there's a single shaft of light from the sun. The slim shaft of light shines directly onto an enormous crystal ball at the center of the floor, balanced on a golden frame. I'd been told the laser-like shaft of light represents sincerity. Before I could go inside to meditate, I would talk with the gardeners. There was one young, bearded Indian guy, and he'd spent many years in Germany. I speak a little bit of German. I learned it from an Audi advert, Vorsprung durch Technik. It means progress through technology. I'd been into the inner sanctum and witnessed, almost a miracle, sprays of rainbows in the air, morphing across the upper parts of the chamber. The next day, I wanted to know the spiritual significance of all the rainbows, an interpretation of all the spectral rainbow light. I asked the Indian man who'd spent times in there. He said, "Oh, no, no, no. If you are seeing rainbows in the inner sanctum, that is mainly due to a defective rotoscope." It wasn't very romantic at all, was it? Not very spiritual. I thought he'd spent too much time in Germany. I saw him watering the garden. He was watering with a hose. He goes, I said, "I'm making rainbows." He was a talented classical guitarist. He was suffering from gas in the stomach and went to see the doctor. I asked him if he told them that he played classical guitar, she might have changed her diagnosis and asked him to water the garden in a different key. Might have made a difference. When was the last time you felt playful or creative in something that you have to do? What kind of mind are you building while you work? Because true work in Dharma is the shaping of the heart. My family once had a young French lady come to stay at our house to practice her English. She wasn't that young, about 25. My mum was a very good cook and always served everyone at the table. After her first round, my mum asked the French lady, "Would you like some more food, Chantal?" "Oh no," she replied politely. "I am completely fed up." Creativity is not a break from work. It's the spirit we bring to our efforts, turning tasks into play. Intention determines meaning. While I was staying in a Chinese temple in the Philippines, I tried storing my own soya milk made from the tofu beans and curd that the temple made. I tried putting it in several glass bottles with rubber stops, screw lids. Took it to my room and then stored it in a plastic ice chest under my desk. The first bottle I tried in my hot drinks. It was very disappointing. It tasted like chalk. I decided the experiment had failed. Around about that time, Russia had just invaded Ukraine. It was big news. Everyone was talking about it. I was reading about it at night. I wondered if anyone had ever tried assassinating President Putin. Just a bit of research, didn't mean anything by it. So I opened Google and put the words "assassinate Putin" in the box, and I hit return. The moment my finger touched the keyboard, a huge explosion went off in my room. No kidding. Massive bang. Wide-eyed, I scanned the room. What, had my computer been hacked? Heart pounding, slowly and cautiously, I crawled to a safe distance in the corner of the room and stood peeking around. Was it a bomb? Satellite-deployed missile grenade? Puzzled, trying to figure out what happened. After looking high and low, I opened the plastic ice chest. There was splattered tofu, broken glass in there. The tofu had fermented, gassed up inside the bottle until breaking point, bang, gone off. My instant karma for thinking about assassination. Intention determines meaning in many ways. You should name the intention. Before starting, just choose one word, like serve, learn, care. Let that guide the task. Those beautiful pictures. Peaceful, harmony, friendly, honesty. Focus on things like that. And then ask yourself, what does meaningful work look like for me now? If you're focused on that, it'll look very different. After it asked, how might I reimagine one routine task with a touch of creativity? My father was originally trained in his apprenticeship in aircraft manufacture, British Aerospace. He once described to me the transition from steel riveted heavy manufacture to lightweight aluminium. He described a visit to a huge aircraft hangar, and in the far distant corner, under lights, was the gleaming figure of the unseen before supersonic Concorde, the fastest aeroplane in the world. Of course, the Buddha foresaw all this. Yeah. I saw it in the Pali Canon. It says, the Vajis should always do business in Concorde. It says it like this. As long as the Vajis meet frequently, have many meetings, they can expect growth, not decline. Ananda, have you heard the Vajis meeting Concorde, leaving Concorde, and carry on their business in Concorde? I have heard that, sir. As long as the Vajis meet in Concorde, leaving Concorde, carry on their business in Concorde, they can expect growth, not decline. See? Told you. I was once working at that time, back that London job I told you about, the splash one. And I was almost immediately afterwards in a total state of surrender, not knowing where I was going to go, release all my attachments. I was almost immediately invited to Egypt, to a place called the Pyramids Hotel, looking right at the pyramids. There was a swimming pool. Little did I know, very recently, an infant had been drowned in the swimming pool through faulty electrics. And I was invited there to try anything to kind of freshen up the place and get it going again. It had such a bad reputation because of the electrical faults. Anyway, that's another story for another day. Have you ever felt part of something bigger, even in small actions? A journey of growth spanning many, many lifetimes. When you see that many countries are developing and helping each other, that humanity is moving forward, spanning centuries, the miracle of science and progress. After working at a banquet at the Royal Windsor Castle, me and a guy called Donny were driving home in the night. A Boeing 747 flew low right overhead. I noticed that the Windsor Castle, lit up at night, was dead in line with Heathrow landing strip number 4. I said to Donny, the driver, you know, you'd have thought they would have considered that when designing a castle, how dangerous it is. When you design a castle, you put it right in line of an airport. That's a joke, by the way. That was built about 700 years ago. Whatever you do, spiritual labor, physical practice, is all part of a bigger unfolding. You contribute, but you don't fully control. Our sense of identity is built on just productivity. It's very fragile. I was often very puzzled and frustrated with the relationship I had with my father. The differences and communication problems went on for many, many, many years. On retreat, I decided to tackle it head on and use all my meditation to try to penetrate the truth and understand it better. I asked for all the assistance from the devas, bodhisattvas, set about focusing. What emerged was firstly to look at the lives of two people roughly similar to me and my dad. Not us, but similar people. After some contemplation, I chose someone called Aldous Huxley for me, British, mystic, artistic, imaginative and spiritual. And to contrast him with someone like my dad, Henry Ford, representing my dad. Bit of background. My father worked first in aircraft manufacture and then in automobile manufacture industry, where he thrived. Totally absorbed in car manufacture, day and night, for as long as I could remember, all through my childhood. General Motors. So I studied Huxley's and Ford's lives until I could see the difference in their lives and mentalities. Then, in meditation, a nudge came, question, well, everyone knows who Henry Ford is, but who founded General Motors? Mr. General? No. Well, who did? I had no idea. I Googled the question, up came a name, William Durant. It meant nothing to me. I hit the images to see what he looked like. I nearly fell off my chair. That was my dad. Almost exactly the same, just in a black and white photo. Dumbfounded. I sent the photo to my cousin in USA. I asked him, who's that? He said, it's your dad. Why? He thought it was actually an early photo of my dad. This echoes the Buddha's teachings of how people's work can span many, many, many lifetimes, and the complications that go with it. Their karmic work and their career work. For 1 minute, imagine your role was gone, the work role, the family role, the social role. Who are you without the title? Feel that. What would it be like? What would it feel like to trust that your effort, just one thread in a larger unfolding? So what would meaningful work look like for you now? Here's a metaphor. It's like polishing a mirror. You can renovate the house endlessly, move the furniture around, but if the mirror is dusty and greasy, you still won't see clearly. The real work is polishing the mirror, not just moving the furniture around. Remember, if you are a compulsive workaholic, don't just do something, sit there. Another metaphor, tuning the instrument. You can play louder and faster, but if the instrument is out of tune, you're still going to be suffering listening to it. The deepest work is tuning the instrument. Balance is not the absence of effort, it's knowing when to push forward and when to step back, trusting the natural rhythm of action and rest. The sun shines hot, all activity grows, the moon comes out, and everything rests quietly. The deepest work is shaping the heart. Work on the heart while you work on the world. The most important work is inner work, trusting the natural rhythm of action and rest. Metaphor again, training the soil. You can plant many projects, but if the soil is poor, nothing thrives, nothing grows. Real work is enriching the soil. Training the muscle. The mind is like a muscle. Whenever you repeatedly lift, grows. If you lift resentment, resentment strengthens. If you lift gratitude, gratitude strengthens. Adjusting the lens. Life doesn't change instantly, but the lens can. Shift the lens, and so seeing becomes workable. Rewiring the path. The brain walks the path it uses the most. In every intentional thought lays another pathway. It's not what you do outside, it's which mental pathways you reinforce. Remember, the deepest work is shaping the heart. Thank you very much for attending my talk, and I wish you Nibbana in the shortest possible time. May you be free from all avoidable suffering. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So, I've got a guided meditation for you all. And, oh, by the way, here it was always followed up to show the connections in the Pali Canon for those scholars and academics and people who like to study the Pali Canon. And it's going very fast, but you can pause this if you want to look at the one up on the YouTube. Again, it's quite abstract, so I often take Buddhist phenomena and then go a few links away from it, not to be too boring and predictable. Okay, so, oh, by the way, yeah, I always like to highlight, much throughout my talks, I use the work of these Japanese woodblock prints that are made by Hiroshi Yoshida. So I'm not going to be teaching you a technique. I'm just going to be guiding you and giving you some thoughtful reflections while you relax. And there's a lot of information and a lot of things in that. So just let that percolate and settle while you sit quietly. When you first came here, you were just fresh out of the traffic with all of the noise of the city, and this has helped us to get up and away from all of that stress and strain. And we've spent some time together reflecting on work, not simply employment, but the many ways we spend our lives. So just breathe and relax, rest, feel the gravity, feel either your feet on the floor or on your legs. There are many ways we spend our lives working with our hands. We're working with our minds, solving problems. Every unfinished task. We work on relationships. We spend an enormous amount of energy on relationships, puzzling out why people behave and how we're going to respond to them. We work on our own behavior. Sometimes we're working far too hard. And perhaps the greatest surprise of all is this, that the deepest work has never really been outside us. It has always been here, in the heart. Please make yourself comfortable. Allow your back to become naturally upright, not rigid and not flopping, simply balanced. A liquid spine, hands resting comfortably, allowing the body to settle. If it feels comfortable, allow the eyes to close. For just these next few minutes, there's nowhere else to go or be. Nothing to accomplish, nothing to prove, nothing to finish. The work can wait. Become aware of the simple feeling of sitting, the weight of the body, the contact with the chair, the feet touching the floor, hands resting quietly. Feel gravity and feel yourself being supported. Notice how much of life we spend holding ourselves up. Just for a little while, allow the earth to hold you. Now notice the breathing. No need to breathe differently. Allow the body to breathe by itself. It's breathing in, knowing you're breathing in. And breathing out, just knowing you're breathing out. Nothing clever, nothing mystical, just this quiet rhythm which has accompanied you since the day you were born. Each out-breath, an opportunity to soften. The forehead softening, the eyes resting, the jaw letting go, the shoulders dropping just a little, the hands unclenching, the stomach softening, the legs at ease. Notice how often effort hides inside the body. We tighten, we brace, we prepare, even when nothing is asking us to. Perhaps this is one of the habits of modern life. Always ready, always busy, always leaning towards the next thing. Tonight, there is no next thing, only this breath. Breathing in, arriving, breathing out, arriving even more deeply. Earlier we reflected on meaningful work, purpose, effort, responsibility. Perhaps now we might ask a quieter question. What is effort? Not the dictionary definition, not what someone taught us, but what effort feels like inside this body, inside this mind. Can you notice, even while sitting here, tiny efforts, trying to meditate well, trying to stop thinking, trying to relax, trying to become peaceful, trying. Smile gently at that. The mind is a wonderful worker. It even tries hard to stop trying. Remember the story about the saw, my father quietly saying, "Let the saw do the work." Such a simple sentence, yet perhaps a profound teaching, because when we force the saw, it jams. When we force the mind, it often becomes noisier. Wisdom is not laziness, but neither is wisdom straining. So just for a few breaths, see if you can let the breathing do the breathing. Rather than I am breathing, simply notice breathing is happening. Notice sounds. No need to chase them away. Some nearby, some distant, each arriving, each disappearing. Just like thoughts. Notice thoughts themselves, plans, memories, conversations, lists, questions. Let them come and go. You are not required to attend every meeting your mind organizes. Perhaps one thought says, I should be doing something. Simply smile. Perhaps another says, this isn't working for me. And it's not work. Smile again. Thoughts are visitors, not instructions. Imagine sitting beside a quiet river with leaves float downstream. Each leaf is a thought. No need to grab them. No need to throw them away. Allow the current to carry them naturally. Now bring gently to mind the work of your own life. Not only your own occupation, but everything you give your energy to. Caring, teaching, driving, cooking, cleaning, listening, studying, creating, repairing, supporting, encouraging, surviving. Notice that every life contains effort. Every life. The Buddha never asked us to stop making effort. He invited us to discover right effort, wise effort, effort that frees instead of leaves us exhausted. Ask yourself gently, where has my energy been flowing lately? No judgment, only curiosity. Has it flowed towards resentment? Has it flowed towards fear? Towards endless busyness? Towards kindness? And towards learning? Towards patience? Simply notice. Imagine now you're holding your day's effort in the palm of your hand. Everything you carried today. Every responsibility. Every unfinished task. Every conversation, every expectation, every worry, hold it gently. You don't have to throw it away, just simply hold it. Now notice something. The one who is holding it is larger than what is being held. Awareness is larger than the burden. Take another slow breath, breathing in space. Breathing out softness. Earlier we spoke about purpose. when many people search everywhere for purpose. Yet perhaps purpose does not always arrive as something spectacular. Perhaps purpose is simply bringing a beautiful intention to whatever appears before us. Washing a cup with care, listening with full attention, smiling without wanting anything back, preparing a meal, sweeping a floor, sitting quietly beside someone who is suffering. Sometimes the smallest acts carry the greatest purpose. Let that understanding settle gently into the heart. Not every meaningful life looks extraordinary. Many are beautifully ordinary. Feel the breath once again. Breathing in. Breathing out. Nothing missing. Nothing extra. Simply enough. Allow that word to echo softly. Enough. Enough effort. Enough achievement. Enough becoming. Just this moment, complete exactly as it is. Remain quietly with the breathing, just resting, allowing, trusting, without anything added at all. As the breathing continues, notice how quietly this moment is unfolding. Nothing forced, nothing hurried, simply one breath following another. Now imagine that just for a few moments, all the roles you carry could be gently placed on the floor beside you. Your occupation, your responsibilities, your qualifications, your successes, your disappointments, your reputation, even your age. And just for a while, leave them there. Without those labels, who is sitting there? Not as an intellectual question, not something to solve, just simply notice. Awareness is still present. Breathing is still present. Life is still present. Perhaps much of what we call I has been built from the work we do. Yet beneath every role, there is simply this knowing, quiet, open, uncomplicated. Notice the relief that comes when there is no need to perform, no need to impress, no need to become, just being. Earlier we reflected that work can shape the outer world, but every thought, every intention, every response is also shaping the inner world. This is the work the Buddha cared most about, the work of the heart. Imagine your mind as a well-worn path through a forest. Each time you walk the path of irritation, it becomes easier to walk again. Each time you walk the path of fear, that path becomes clearer. Each time you walk the path of gratitude, that too becomes easier. Each moment is laying another stone upon a path. So very gently ask yourself, which path have I been strengthening? Not with guilt, only with wisdom. If resentment has been growing, simply know that. If worry has been growing, again, simply know that. If kindness has been growing, rejoice quietly. If patience has begun to deepen, rejoice quietly. This is not a time for criticism. It's a time for understanding. Bring to mind now the image of polishing a mirror. If the mirror has become dusty, we do not become angry with the mirror. We simply clean it again and again, patiently, lovingly. The same is true for the heart. Every act of mindfulness wipes away a little of confusion. Every act of generosity removes a little selfishness. Every moment of forgiveness clears another corner. Every moment of understanding allows more light to shine through. Nothing dramatic, just steady practice, like polishing a mirror day after day. Picture a musical instrument, perhaps a violin, perhaps a guitar, perhaps a piano. If the instrument is beautifully tuned, even a simple melody becomes beautiful. If it is badly tuned, even great effort cannot produce harmony. Our minds are just the same. The deepest work is not playing louder. The deepest work is tuning the instrument. Notice your breathing. Gentle, balanced. Neither too much effort, nor too little. The middle way is already present with every peaceful breath. Imagine now the rhythm of the sun and the moon. The sun works tirelessly, bringing warmth, energy, growth. But the moon asks nothing. It simply allows the world to become quiet. Both belong. Action belongs and rest belongs. Speaking belongs. Silence belongs. Working belongs. Stillness belongs. Wisdom knows where each is appropriate. Ask yourself, where in my life do I need a little more sunshine? Where do I need a little more moonlight? Feel yourself becoming lighter, not because your responsibilities disappear, but because your relation to them softens. Know this very breath asks nothing of you except awareness. This moment does not require perfection, only presence. Pause within yourself. May I discover wise effort. May I work without becoming lost in work. May I remember that intention gives meaning and shape a peaceful heart. May I discover that enough can be enough. And allow those wishes to spread gently throughout the room. Every person here has worked hard. Every person sitting here has known disappointment. Every person has hoped their efforts would matter. May we all discover meaning beyond achievement. May we discover balance between action and rest. May we all shape beautiful hearts. Widen your awareness beyond just this room, to your family, to your friends, to those with whom you find difficulty, to complete strangers, to people working night shifts, to farmers, to nurses, to builders, to parents, to teachers, and to those searching for employment, to those who have retired and wonder who they are now, to those whose bodies can no longer work. May we all know that our worth has never depended solely upon what we produce. May all people know peace. May all people know dignity. May we all experience kindness and practice kindness. Extend your heart to every living being, seen and unseen, near and far, human and animal. Those beginning life, those approaching death, those rejoicing and those grieving, those striving, those exhausted. May all beings be free from unnecessary suffering. May all beings discover wise effort. May all beings cultivate hearts of compassion, clarity, and peace. Return once more to the breathing, breathing in and out. Nothing to become, nowhere else to arrive. As you prepare to open your eyes, remember this. Tomorrow your work will begin again. Your responsibilities will return. The world will continue to ask much of you, but perhaps you can carry small changes into tomorrow. Not only asking, what work must I do? But also, what kind of heart am I cultivating while I do it? Because in the end, the greatest work is not merely what we build in the world, it's what the work has quietly built within us. May our efforts be guided by wisdom. May our purposes be guided by compassion. May our heart grow lighter, steadier, and freer, one mindful breath at a time. May you all be well. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for the opportunity for this journey. Yeah. So if anyone would like to share, simply what makes sense to you from that. It's good to share because you also speak for other people, and many people have experienced all kinds of things to do with the subjects that we've covered over tonight. Work and activities and meaning. Have courage. Have generosity to share as well. Please do. "22 people, that's 44 hands. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of washing up, a lot of cleaning, a lot of straightening shelves, and a lot of laundry. I'm sure you've all experienced something during that. Not only the laundry falling through your head from the ceiling. No, please do. Anyone, there's a microphone there. It helps if somebody breaks the ice. Any brave souls, just a small sharing. Anyone have a favourite bit of the talk after all that? Anyone have a favourite story or a favourite picture or anything that came up? Oh yeah, yeah. Me too. Hiroshi Yoshida. That was just creating these made me really slow down. Nowadays we scroll, don't we? We don't take time to look at something very slowly with our eyes. It's quite a thing. He used to take. He's taking those sketch pads to the tops of mountains and all the box of paints. And a little thing of water, sketching and painting. That was amazing. Yeah. Yeah, it means that he would go to the remote places, mountains and forests, and do the drawings and watercolors and bring those back. And then they would cut wood blocks to print those colored areas. Something like that. It's like a roller. You put, you roller the colors on just for the sky, something, and then you put the paper on, and they either press it, with a heavy press, and they come out, and afterwards, it's all on there. Yeah, amazing technique. Great patience But the drawing is so subtle. The lines and the colours and the people. Yeah, beautiful ranges of colours. Probably revisit a few maybe. All of these ones are also the one he travelled not only in Japan, but he went to Egypt and he went to India. Pictures of the pyramids and also sorry. Yeah, that's in Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu. Oops, sorry. So yeah, they cut away. So they would draw on, it's either wood or like a rubber or lino. They would do it. They would draw it on, copy it down, and then they would cut everything else away. And then just what would be left, they would put the ink on, and then do the same for every different color. It's really slow. And often people give it to a printer to do. He wouldn't. He would be right next to their printers if they were getting other people to help them as well. Yeah.
I guess this is just to break the ice, but everybody is very busy. I mean, in the current modern corporate world, where time is of essence, and everybody's rushing constantly. What advice would you give for a young executive in this day and age to take a few minutes off and cool down from the stresses of daily life? I'm retired, so it doesn't affect me very much, but I'm sure there are very many young people here who go through that experience every day, where they get pressured, during work. So how do they take the lid off, Bhante?
I think it's really, if you promote this, two people come to mind. When I was training in Chiang Mai, a man came from Mexico and he was training, and it emerged that he was actually one of the CEOs of Ford. They were doing a lot of production there, and he encouraged his workers. He was so impressed with Vipassana practice and the difference it made in his behavior and attitude, that he asked people, would you come in half an hour earlier before work? And most of the workers did. They beat the traffic, they came in and they just sat for half an hour before the day, and so much of the conflicts and the stress, reduced down. It was really noticeable. Another one, was if you look on Google for someone called Chade Meng Tan. He worked at Google, and he noticed that in the silicon explosion, everyone was kind of going into the internet, but focusing out of Google Earth, and everything was out, and work. It was the same stuff. And he put this initiative of search inside yourself. Like Google is always searching the internet, which is infinite, but search inside yourself. And he promoted mindfulness in the workplace. And these people like David Beckham's wife really was very impressed, and noticed all her friends are all focused on handbags and perfumes and events. That few of them do that. They take time to look inside. So if you just start promoting that, it can change the workplace, and it can give really meaning. And also, a parent who acts like that, they really start to pay attention to the inner life of children, their emotions and their needs, and not just simply on their achievements and their outer displays of skills that are all sciences and external mathematics, but how do they feel? What are their dreams? What are their real interests? It makes a huge difference. The children will start to be known, feel like they're seen. Or any leader or any CEO in a small or medium or large scale company that starts to show this attitude, they'll have a huge different response. Rather than telling people what to do, people often are afraid of authority, is just asking them sort of what's important to you, how are you, what happens in your life outside of this job, the job place. And that can make a huge difference. Is not having an authoritarian top down, but treating people equally. Like, I have feelings too, you have feelings too, I have stresses, I see that you have stresses. What are yours? Let's work together to solve that, so we can have a happy workplace. It makes a big transformation. So that's bringing mindfulness and compassionate rather than just product and that kind of overemphasis on goals and money show that people are valued as people. They're not just replaceable by robots or new technology as well. So, has anyone else experienced young leaders introducing awareness or some kind of something that made a difference? Or have you ever had a boss that was really something else? There was something different, there was something more to them. I'll certainly never forget the CEOs and the other ones. You know, when I got the job to do the abstract art, it was a wonderful time, you know, to be given that freedom. I went to another country, like I said afterwards, and the leaders were completely different. They're very macho and fear. They liked fear. They liked everyone to be afraid under them, you know. So that's a top-down effect if you're being shown that by leadership. But if you're being really shown kindness in leadership, generosity in leadership. Yeah, but we can start here. You know, this is where we cultivate. And like when you have Master Cheng Yen Tzu Chi, she was listed as one of the top 100 influential people in the world. So if you have 100 people who are putting out an influence of kindness and compassion, that's a huge effect. 10 million members, I heard once, the statistic. That's a huge effect. And each one of those will be having that effect of kindness. And the Venerable Chief, you know, Reverend, both, you know, current one and Venerable Sri Kaidamananda, or many great living leaders we have. Ajahn Brahm does enormous work with bhikkhunis and with the prison visits and so on. Or the leader of Fo Guangshan, they have 3,000 monks, 3,000 bhikkhunis. It's very much a living tradition. Or the Dalai Lama, people could not believe when he would talk about forgiving China for destroying his country. He said, no, we've got a lot to learn from them. We're not angry. You know, like, what? You know, that's amazing to see someone who won't let themselves become angry. We can get angry so easily about the tiniest little thing, little traffic, someone cutting in. You know, he managed to not get angry through such an amazing, you know, acts of cruelty. Thank you so much. I hope you're going to sleep well tonight after all that. A little bit of light entertainment, a little bit of wisdom, a little bit of stepping out from your life, take a new perspective, can be really refreshing. So once again, thank you all for coming. And let me do a little chant for the ending. Blessings and protection of the Triple Gem. Bhavatu Sapamangalang Rakantu Sapa Devata Sapa Buddha Nupawena Sada Soti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sapa Mangalang Rakantu Sapa Devata Sapa Dhamma Nupawena Sada Soti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sapa Mangalang Rakantu Sapa Devata Sapa Sanganu Bhavena Sada Soti Bhavantu Te. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.